Minister Scott Morrison actually prepared khichdi to celebrate the signing of the Tourism Cooperation Agreement, and which was posted by Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal on the social media platform. So a lot of friendship between the two countries. The countries have come closer, not just on the trade, investment, geopolitical level, education link, but also on the tourism front. The countries are quite close, than any other countries as we speak. So that's a good thing. When the captains of the two country or when the leaders of the two country are fond of each other, I guess the friendship between two countries prosper, and we'll see a massive increase in tourism numbers from India to Australia as a result of this friendship that exists. Then another reason why we believe we'll bounce back faster is because Australia will be hosting the ICC T20 World Cup, the Men's World Cup, which was earlier supposed to happen in November 2020, has been now postponed and will be held in Australia between October and November 2022. The first game that India will be playing will be against Pakistan at the MCG on the 23rd of October. That's on the Dhanteras Day. It coincides with Diwali. So those Indians and couples who want to travel to Australia and celebrate Diwali in Australia, it's a perfect opportunity for them. The finals will be played at the MCG on the 14th of November. So it's a nice 3-week long period where Indians can holiday, watch the game at the iconic venues like the MCG, SCG, Adelaide Oval, even the new Optus or the Perth Stadium in Perth. It's good traction, good interest from Indians who want to travel for the games, and watch India play at the iconic venues in Australia. And the last and the most important reason as to why we believe that India will bounce back strongly is because there's already a huge pent-up demand. India is and will continue to be one of the fastest growing economies in the world, or we are among the fastest growing emerging large economies in the world. The government has an ambitious plan of making it a $5 trillion economy by FY26 and a $10 trillion economy by FY32. Even if it does not happen by 26 and 32, the issue is it's not whether it will happen, the issue is when it will happen. And given our strong fundamentals, given our young demography, and when I walk into these outlets of Pick Your Trails or Make My Trips and all, the young Indians, who are actually working there have got very strong aspirations and ambitions. And this is that ambitions or the sparks of this 1.3 billion people that will help us to achieve and make India a necessity. And when you look at these youngsters, maybe our kids and maybe their kids in the future, will have a very strong appetite for travel, for international travel, out of India. We also have seen that India has been producing a unicorn every 5 days in 2022. So there's this new startup which is valued at almost $1 billion plus in 2022, and the number of unicorns, we are in fact ranked number 3 in the world today as far as the unicorns are concerned. So just to summarize, the top 10 reasons why we believe we'll be the fastest growing market is because we have set a very strong foundation. There's a 137% increase in direct aviation capacity between India and Australia. We have waived off the visa application charge for those who are unable to travel to Australia during the pandemic, and then there's a benefit, a faster processing for those who want to travel in large corporate incentives and groups. Our research tells us that whether it's safety, whether it's awareness, consideration, intention, Australia ranks number 1. There are almost like 82% of high-value travelers who intend to visit Australia over the next couple of years. As far as safety is concerned, 87% of Indians feel that Australia is really safe and really managed the pandemic quite well. We have the highest confidence index, highest booking and the travel intent, very strong ties, very strong bilateral relationship between the two countries led by both the Prime Ministers. The T20 World Cup is a significant opportunity, and India as an economy will continue to be one of the fastest growing emerging economies in the world. So these are all facts. This is something that is happening around us. This is something which our research and our consumers are telling us, and therefore we have a very strong belief and vision that India can be amongst a 1 million market for tourism Australia over the next decade. So from 400,000 visitors and 1.8 billion who contributed $1.8 billion to the Australian economy, we believe that it can be in the league of 1 million plus visitors over the next decade, and that's our plan. So in terms of how are we going to achieve it, our strategic priorities over the next few years will be around raising Australia's appeal and aspiration. We want every Indian traveller to think about Australia, or Australia should be in the consideration set through various marketing and PR initiatives that we undertake in this particular market. and we'll continue to grow faster than the outbound travel market. So through a range of various marketing initiatives, we would like to increase our market share out of India. Aviation is going to be extremely critical. Unfortunately, you cannot take a boat or swim down to Australia, so flights connectivity is going to be extremely important, and we would love to have not just Qantas but also maybe Vistara or Indigo and other Indian carriers start direct flights from India to Australia. As we have seen a huge supply as far as aviation capacity is concerned, and we hope that it continues in the coming months and years as well. Advocacy will play a very important role as well. Therefore, our media partners, our friends of Australia, influencers are the ones who tell the Australia story on their social media platforms, and therefore tourism, which is all about building people-to-people links, we intend to take a lot of friends of Australia, a lot of influencers from the digital landscape to Australia to talk and share about the Australia story amongst their fans and followers. Indigenous tourism will be our focus in the coming years. And finally, our priority will also be to drive business events or MICE, because meetings, incentives, conferences and events will help us take those large volumes into Australia. And there is a pretty exciting offer, not just from the visa front, where we facilitate and fast track the visas, but also there's a business events bid fund. So if a corporate wants to take more than 700 people into Australia who could contribute over $3 million or spending over $3 million whilst during the stay, we offer a bid fund which starts at almost $100,000 as an entry. So it's a benefit, or $100,000 between the Convention Bureau and Tourism Australia. So we contribute that much amount to the corporate, so that they can possibly subsidize some part of their expenses, and it's an incentive for them to selecting Australia as the next destination for business events. So we will continue to focus on this, and there's an additional funding which was announced recently by the Minister to the tune of $5 million Australian dollars to promote the business events into Australia. So in terms of our upcoming key projects and activities, interestingly, whilst a lot of hotels shut down during this particular period, there are almost over 90 new hotels which have opened up in Australia over the last couple of years. And there's a wide range, right, from a bed and breakfast style accommodation to 5-star luxury accommodation to luxury lodges of Australia. There are a lot of new accommodation options which are now available in Australia. We have the Crown Towers and Casino on the Barangaroo precinct in Sydney, which has come up. It's got almost 350 rooms overlooking the Sydney Harbour. It's a beautiful hotel. It's got a casino as well. This is a very interesting and my personal favorite. This is the Adelaide Oval Hotel, or the Oval Hotel inside the Adelaide Oval Cricket Stadium. So you can actually watch a game from your room, or from the restaurant in at the hotel at the Adelaide Oval. Then there's the Ritz-Carlton Perth, which has come up right at the Elizabeth Quay, right in the central business district of Perth. Again, the number of hotels in Australia and in Perth has significantly gone up over the past couple of years. And then there's this new modern move and pick which has come in Melbourne as well. So a lot of over 90 plus new hotels have opened up in Australia. So supply is no longer a constraint, capacity is no longer a constraint. There are also 72 plus, almost 70 odd new products and experiences that we've launched during this particular period. Now these experiences include like a helicopter, a skydiving experience from a helicopter for that matter, or the Museum of Underwater Art in the Great Barrier Reef. It's got products like Sleep Reef, where you actually sleep on one of the pontoons in the Great Barrier Reef. Then there are products like related to aquatic and coastal experiences, food and wine tours in Australia. You can swim with the wild dolphins. There are various bridge climb experiences that we have also launched in Australia across multiple cities. So a lot of new products, a lot of new tourism experiences that have come up. Another collective that we have launched in India a couple of years ago is called the Signature Experiences of Australia. So these signature experiences comprises of products such as luxury lodges, great walks of Australia, Aboriginal experiences, wildlife attractions, cultural attractions of Australia, fishing expeditions in Australia, and these are the products which will tap into the passion points of the new age Indian traveller. And there are these 8 collectives with almost 180 members under these collectives, 8 collectives, and over 700 plus experiences that they have to offer. So this is something which is really unique. It is something which will help us to drive dispersal, that is travel beyond the key gateway cities, and 70% of these experiences are based outside the key cities of Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, Gold Coast. So quite an interesting set, and we believe that this is something that will help us differentiate Australian tourism product as compared to the rest of the world. So this is a new campaign that we launched called Australia is Yours to Explore. It is a reopening campaign that we have recently launched. I'll just play the campaign video. And this campaign is currently on various social media platforms. We are running this with Singapore Airlines and some of our key distribution partners that I'll just talk to you about.
Australia is open and it's your...
So one of this initiative is a trade resource hub. So everyone in this day and age requires a lot of images. They need a lot of videos. They need a lot of content. So we have created a website or a portal where every travel agent across the country can actually go to this particular website and download the images, content, videos, blogs, posts, articles, and they can modify it and put it up on their own social media platforms, because they're sharing the information with their friends and followers, with their past customer database is really quite important. And this is something which is a repository of all the Tourism Australia assets under one platform. What we've also done is created another platform called Australia 365 On Demand. So Australia 365 On Demand is a portal where all the tourism products of Australia have featured themselves. They've put up their brochures, their videos, their contact details. So any travel agent from India who would like to contact and reach out to these experiences or products or hotels can directly touch base with them, contract with them, and download all the relevant information that they want. So they don't have to travel or pick up the phone or wait for the next trade event to happen. All this can happen virtually, as we speak 24/7. So this is another interesting initiative. The partnerships are going to be extremely important for us, because we believe that the industry at both ends are the reason for our existence. So we'll be working very closely with some of our top key distribution partners like Thomas Cook, SOTC, Veena World, Kesari, PickYourTra, Kulin Kumar, Travel Tours, and FCM has got good strong presence in South India, and working with some of those traveler-made or serendipedians, who sell only those premium products and premium holidays to their customers. So that's the list of our key distribution partners where we'll promote the signature experiences, and then working with Qantas, Air India, Singapore Airlines, and Malaysia Airlines. From the 21st of April, we are launching a virtual travel fair. This is a 3-week campaign where we'll get 6 to 8 airlines who fly to Australia, like Qantas, Air India, Singapore Airlines, Malaysia Airlines, Sri Lankan Airways, Scoot, Thai and Cathay Pacific. And these airlines will offer attractive deals and attractive offers for travel to Australia, because the whole objective is to achieve the pre-COVID numbers as soon as possible, to ensure that the airlines go back to their pre-COVID capacity as soon as possible. And this is a demand generation exercise. We will want to offer a compelling reason for Indians to travel to Australia. So this campaign will run from the 21st of April and will help us to stir that demand amongst the Indian travelers.
How long will it go on?
It's a 3-week campaign. Then our flagship global trade event, Australian Tourism Exchange, will be held from the 15th to the 18th of May in Sydney. We intend to take a big delegation of 50 travel agents from India to attend this particular event, who will interact with the Australian industry. We'll continue the ongoing training and webinars. How do Indians travel when they're on a honeymoon? How does, when there are 3 families and 3 generations traveling together, how do you take care of them? What is it that Indians like? We fast on certain days, we eat everything on certain days. So to understand those nuances about the Indian traveler and enhance their understanding of the Indian traveler, we've launched this particular program in partnership with Australian Tourism Export Council. So almost over 85 products have registered and become qualified India host certified agents and certified suppliers who are really willing to welcome the Indian tourists and meet and exceed the expectations when they travel to Australia. Then on the business events or MICE front, we participated in a business event showcase, which was a Tourism Australia event. We had 15 top business event agents or MICE agents who participated in that. In the month of June, we intend to organize a corporate funnel. We intend to take top 10 corporates from India to visit Australia, and so that they can understand what are the products and the offering that the business event sector has to offer, and why should they consider Australia as the next destination for MICE. And then I spoke about the business event bid fund. If you have a group of 700 people contributing $3 million to the economy, to the Australian economy, you can get anywhere between 50,000 to 100,000 Australian dollars as an incentive, which could be used for various experiences that you want to purchase, or you want to have your dealers and employees participate in. So the business event bid fund is another interesting proposition. So just a summary of all our activities: we have the brand campaign. There'll be a campaign for the ICC T20 World Cup as well. Our public relation and international media hosting programs. We intend to take a lot of journalists and influencers to Australia during this particular period. A lot of focus on building relationship between the industry at both ends. So a lot of trade events which have been planned over the next few months and years. Our campaigns with the key distribution partners, 8 of our key distribution partners and 6 airline partners with whom we intend to work, and then focus on business events will continue, because that's one that will help us to drive huge volumes into Australia, especially during the ICC T20 World Cup. Very active in India, all our state partners and the industry at both ends to achieve this particular goal. I'll stop here. Thank you very much for your time and coming for this particular event. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take those. We are in touch with almost 4 official travel agents and 5 hospitality agents, and they're confident that this is based on their inputs that we should be able to get at least 20,000 visitors, provided there's enough aviation capacity and provided there are no further waves and variants of COVID from which would restrict travel from the Indian market.
What is the average age of travelers traveling to Australia very often?
So we moved away from demographic targeting of audiences to more of psychographic targeting of audiences. So we target audiences based on their needs, their preferences, their likes, and it's more of behavioral targeting or attitudinal targeting. So if somebody is fond of aquatic and coastal experiences, somebody is fond of journeys and self-drive, or somebody is fond of nature and wildlife or sustainability experiences, you can target these cohorts or these audiences or segments on the digital ecosystem based on the content that they consume, or the brands that they follow, or the experiences that they keep searching on. And you can bucket them into various categories and serve them content which appeals to them, which has got a very strong affinity and which resonates with them. So you moved away from demographic or age-based targeting to a more of a psychographic or an attitudinal based targeting, which is possible in this digital day and age. But if you want to answer that particular question, that who's your audience, there are 3 key segments. One is the ultra high net worth individuals, people who have not been affected by this particular pandemic. Then we have another younger segment called the explorers or the millennials, which also includes honeymooners, people who want to explore and travel, at least take 2 or 3 holidays every year. And then we have the family audience, family segment, who travel with kids, travel with their parents together. So affluent families, explorers and millennials, and ultra high net worth individuals, and then corporates from a business event perspective are our 4 key segments or audiences that we're looking at. During pandemic, during the COVID.
Is there any incentive you are giving during World Cup visitors?
There's no incentive to travel. I guess the biggest
incentive, visa application waiver, something like that.
There's no waiver, but certain applications will be fast tracked. So we are working closely with the Department of Home Affairs, and they are liaising with the official travel agents and the hospitality agents to facilitate entry of genuine tourists who intend to travel for the World Cup. Like how we have a personalized service for MICE, similarly we'll have a more personalized service for those who are traveling for the World Cup as well. And the Department of Home Affairs is in touch with the ICC's official travel agents and the hospitality agents.